Raiders in Hard Rock Stadium, 1 o'clock on Sunday. What are our thoughts on this game? I think a big thing for me is this Raiders team looks somewhat undermanned. They have Gardner Minshew starting at quarterback. Devontae Adams got traded to the Jets, so the wide receiver core isn't looking all that great. Uh, and they're starting potentially Audric Estime at running back. Alexander Madison doesn't inspire a lot of. This is a Raiders team that kind of has the look and feel of a team that's getting ready to pack it in for the season. Again, can't look past them. So, Steve, I'm going to start with you on this one. What are your thoughts on this Raiders game? How do you see this one going?
Well, I think I said it in the beginning, and I was kind of hoping this is how it was going to be, but I'm excited to watch Gardner Minshew play. I don't think he poses too much of a threat to us. I think that this game isn't necessarily an easy win because no win is necessarily an easy win, but I think it's a more than winnable game, especially if Gardner is going to be the one to play. He is kind of the guy that can, get a little Baker-ish and go off a little bit, but ultimately, I think if I'm concerned, I'm concerned about the pass rush getting to Tua. I'm not really concerned too much about this Raiders offense scoring too many points. I think that if our offense can score 20 points, we win this game pretty handily at that rate. I think maybe the Raiders can get lucky and get a touchdown, but I think we're ultimately going to see field goal range out of this Raiders team. So I feel pretty good going into this week watching some football, and I think I'll be watching it while at my daughter's tournament, and I believe that it'll be a good weekend all in all. I think I'll get some wins all the way around.
Nice, love it. Just Audric Estime is on the Broncos. I don't know what I was thinking as far as the Raiders. That's my mistake, guys.
It's going to be great, but
yeah.
Thankfully we don't have to play him. Yeah.
My bad, guys. Anthony, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, so I went through, and every week I feel like we do this segment, and I forget to mention somebody, and then I'm watching the game, and I'm like, why didn't I mention that guy? Like, obviously, right? So this week what I did is I went and wrote down everybody from the roster that I feel like is actually good, and unfortunately, we're playing the Raiders, or fortunately, there's not a lot. So personally, I don't like to write anybody off. This team beat the Ravens earlier this year somehow.
True.
Mm-hmm.
They did have Devontae Adams at the time, but still, they gave the Chiefs a run for their money. They only lost by 7 in that game. They only lost to the Rams by, I think it was 3 or 4. So they have had good performances. But when I look at this roster, I see 4 guys that stand out to me. And now I don't know offensive line that well, and I don't know defense that well, so perhaps I'm missing guys. But Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker are good on the outside at wide receiver. Brock Bowers is a superstar tight end. Oh, yeah. And then Max Crosby is probably the best pass rusher in the NFL.
Yeah. So Bowers is their leading receiver, too.
Yeah. Bowers has been fantastic.
Yep.
And thankfully, though, we don't have David Long Jr. covering him now, so we should be okay.
No, but we do have Poyer, so...
We do. So, I mean, with any luck, we'll have Jordan Brooks on him or a nickel. Yeah. Maybe Cam Smith will get some more playing time or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, overall, it's hard to say it's not a threatening game, but I don't feel that threatened by them. And I'm hoping the Dolphins don't feel the same way, because that's exactly how you lose, right? As you go into a game thinking that. But it's not a game that I am overly concerned about, despite them have had some really good performances this season. Mm-hmm. They've scored under 21 points in 5 of the last 6 games. So I think Steve is on point there by saying, we need to score 20.
Yep.
And I think
magic number.
We're averaging like 24 in the last 3 games since Tua got back. So we should be able to pull it off.
Yeah. Brock Bowers, you pointed him out. He's going to be an absolute beast, man. He's so good. And you don't normally see tight ends, rookie tight ends, do what Brock Bowers is doing in the NFL, which just shows me how special this guy is, because he can also block. He can also block along with receive. Yeah. So he's certainly somebody we're going to have to keep both eyes on. Jacoby Myers, we remember him from New England. Good receiver, not necessarily, probably miscast as number 1, I would say.
Well, yeah, solid. He's a good number 2.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, he was really good when Devontae was there. But
absolutely. But, this is a team that can score a little bit, put up points. This is a team that can give the Dolphins problems, especially because Gardner Minshew. I've compared him to Ryan Fitzpatrick in the past. He's like the new age Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's that bridge quarterback. He's that guy who's going to go back there and just sling it around the yard.
He can go off.
He might throw 5 touchdowns. He might throw 5 interceptions. That's kind of how Gardner Minshew rolls.
Let's hope for the latter.
Yeah, let's hope for the latter. Josh, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, all right, fellas, buckle up. I got some stats for you guys. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, well, first of all, I think it would be remiss of us to also not mention the fact that going into the bye, the Razors fired pretty much everyone. They promoted Turner into their coach, like their interim coach. They brought Norv Turner out of retirement to be a consultant. They have 13 turnovers in the last 5 games. I mean, just an absolute dumpster fire, in my opinion, right? I mean, I don't think this team is good at all outside of the players that Anthony and you guys mentioned. They're 25th in points per game. They're 30th in yards per game. They're 20th in passing yards per game. They're 32nd in rushing per game. And they're 25th in time of possession, right? Those are clearly bottom of the league stats. They have 156 first downs on the season to our 169. Bear with me. I got a lot of stats here, but this really helps kind of round out and paint a picture, right? They're 39 of 116 on third down. We are 47 for 117, right? They are 4 and 13 on fourth down, which tells us they go for it on fourth down about as much as we do. Now, if you remember in earlier shows, we have begged Mike McDaniel to just stop the nonsense. They continue the nonsense, please. I'm happy. I'm good. They have 2,522 total yards on offense to our 2,837, which if you think about that for a second, we have more total offensive yards with our starting quarterback being out for 5 games, right? They average 4.5 yards per play. They have 30 sacks to our 23, 17 total touchdowns to our 14. And this is the biggest stat right here. This is the one that I was burning through, but I wanted to pause on. They are negative 14 in the turnover ratio. We are negative 3. They are negative 14, which I believe is second to last in the league. That is awesome for the opposing defense. And if our defense shows up like it did last week, I honestly could see multiple turnovers, maybe one finally returned for a touchdown. I mean, it's that kind of game. Their leading passer is Minshew with 1,500 yards. Their leading rusher is Madison with 301. Their leading receiver is Brock Bowers at 580. Crosby has 6.5 sacks, though. I am terrified of Crosby. I am terrified of that crazy animal. I also am a huge fan of
his blind side.
Oh, Jesus. I'm so nervous. And he does not pull up. He runs through people. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big fan of Spillane. He leads their team in tackling. I think he's solid. It's going to be an interesting game. I think we have to completely not show up to lose this game. In my opinion.
You made me go look up their coaching staff and all these hires that they've made. They literally hired our kryptonite, Mr. Joe Philbin. Now their offensive line coach, so we're screwed. That's it.
We're done. We're done.
It's a revenge game for him, guys.
Yeah, it's over.
That's it.
All right, so I agree. I agree with what you just said, Josh. We literally have to not show up in order to lose this game. That being said, I'm not looking past this game. I understand the Dolphins to lose this game. This is a very winnable game. This is probably the most winnable game in a series of winnable games coming up for the Miami Dolphins. So we need to get this started off right if we want to get back into this playoff hunt here. I'm going to throw out my prediction here. I think the Dolphins are going to win this one fairly easily. I think they're going to win this one by a couple of touchdowns. Give me a 36-17 victory here. Steve, what do you think, man?
So I have a prediction that we go 2 weeks in a row without letting a touchdown in. And if we do, it will be Brock, but I don't see that happening. My prediction is 28. I don't see a score having to kick too many field goals. It'll be 28 to, I wanted to say 17, but I think I'm going to go down to 13.
Okay. 28 to 13, Steve?
Or 12.
12.
28, 12. Yep.
All right. All right. Anthony, what's your score prediction?
Like you, Keith, I think we're going to eclipse the 30-point mark for the first time this season. So I'm going to have us winning this one 31-17.
31 to 17.
Mhm.
And Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, I got us winning 27-13. I think, I think we pour it on early and they make a run. I could see it being like 21-3 or something going into half. And then they get a touchdown and all of us say, oh, here goes. And then we close it out.